Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we continue on our discussion of the Islamic economic system, which I look at as a fourth pillar of the Islamic faith and the Islamic way of living, which includes three important items. The Zakah, which is the paying of alms in a certain way that represents a system in Islam itself, and inheritance, which is mirath, that is the distribution of wealth, what they call in the economic theory the trickle-down economics, where you accumulate wealth and then you go to meet Allah, you die, and then this wealth has to be distributed back in a certain predefined way. And then, of course, the dealings in the economic system and financial aspects of it. We started by talking about this last important point, to understand this concept of money and what money is all about. And we agreed that a dollar bill is nothing but a measure of value. It's a piece of paper, but the communities have agreed that it gives you a measure of value. That measure of value, of course, changes from time to time. But it is not value. You cannot buy and sell this dollar every once in a while at a price. Of course, this price is called interest rates. If you go to your friendly riba banker and you tell him, I've got $100,000 and I want to keep it with you, he will do you a favor by saying, all right, keep this money with me. You say, well, how would you like us to keep your money? You say, well, I want to tap into it every once in a while. And this kind of account is called demand deposit. So the money sits and nothing is done with it. And you know what? The friendly riba banker can take this money without your consent and invest it without your consent. In a la riba banker, a banker that abides by the Islamic system, this money is looked upon as an amana, as a trust. It cannot be touched. As a matter of fact, you pay money to keep this money as a trust because it costs administration and a place to keep and security for this money. That is the first point we want to make. The second point, you say, well, I can put this money for you in a money market account or in an account that bears interest or in a certificate of deposit that gives you 6%. You're giving you the impression that if you give him the money, he will put it in this jar and it will reproduce at 6%. And they take this money and invest it in projects, in services, without your consent and guarantee you 6%, despite the fact he can make 12%, despite the fact he can make 1%. And they guarantee you 6%. In a la riba Islamic banking setting, the Islamic banker would say, I've got a set of projects, and what is your choice? What's your risk profile? And there you are going to participate in the profit and the loss, in the risk actually, in a proper way. And then the third most important thing about a riba banker. If you go to a riba banker and you are a very affluent person with a good salary, a good balance sheet, the riba banker, the person who deals in riba, would say, you know, what do you need, Dr. Yahya? Say, well, I need $100,000. You will say, well, we know you very well. You can pay us back. And how long do you want to pay us back? I say, well, 2 years. Oh, don't worry. You don't even need to pay for 2 years. All you need to do, pay me an interest of 10%. They wouldn't even care what this money is used for. As a matter of fact, they call it unsecured line of credit. If Yahya takes this money and gambles in Las Vegas, if Yahya takes this money and speculates in the markets, no problem. In a la riba banker, an Islamic banker setting, the first question the Islamic banker will ask is, what do you need this money for? And when this money is needed, it has to be exchanged for goods and services such that title of good and the billing for services exchanges from one asset owner to another asset owner. And on that basis, the la riba banker decides on the financing or not. So I wanted to give you a flavor of this whole thing. But the question is how this is done in all practical ways. We discovered something very interesting here in the United States, and we call it the marking to the market. What is marking to the market? Sayyidina Bilal, the mu'adhin, the person who called for the prayer for Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and prayers be upon him, who came from Ethiopia at that time, he knew that Prophet Muhammad liked very high quality dates. So he wanted to surprise the Prophet. He went out and he saved a large number of smaller, lower quality dates, and he exchanged it for the larger, smaller number, I think it was 3 or 5 good quality dates, and he went to the Prophet and he gave him the dates. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, God's peace and prayers be upon him, told him, Bilal, where did you get these good quality dates from? He explained to him. The Prophet said, هذا هو الربا بعينه. This is exactly what riba is all about. So Bilal was shaken up, because remember, dealing in riba is exactly like zina, like fornication. And there are so many hadith about this. And I'm going to refer you to some revelations in the Holy Quran in different places, which says that those who deal in riba, they do not stand up except standing up as if Satan has touched them, so they cannot even know what's around them. In which God has announced war against those who participate and deal in riba, and in which God has completely forbidden riba. So this is the whole idea. So Bilal was very much shaken up. He said, Prophet Muhammad, please tell me, what is the proper way of doing it? He said, Bilal, you should have taken the smaller, low quality dates, sold them in the market for the currency used in that market at the time, gold and silver, and you could have taken the gold or silver and bought back those larger, higher quality dates. This way you mark the smaller, low quality dates to the market, and this way you mark the larger, higher quality dates to the market. And this is what we call marking to the market. So if you want to buy an automobile and finance it in the La Riba Islamic way, if you want to buy a house and finance it in the La Riba Islamic way, then what you want to do, you want to mark the utility of this house to the market. Now, the riba banker will say, oh, we appraise the value of this property. We say that is not enough. He says, why? He says, because the appraisal of this property is based on the characteristics of this property, the size of it, how many rooms, and it's also based on the last sales of the property in the neighborhood. If you have a bubble in the market and the price of the real estate is overpriced, what happens? What happens is that you will be suckered into this bubble and you may buy your property at a higher price. But if you market to the market based on the utility of it, as indicated by the lease rate the property would command in the market, then you will know how much you can rent this property for. So the riba banker, to finance your home, he will start from the price of money, which is riba, which is haram, and that's called interest rate. The La Riba Islamic banker would start from the rental rates and backs the process to calculate the return on investment based on this rental rate. And if the return on investment is acceptable to the investors, then it means that this is a good investment. If it is low, that means you have a bubble that you need to wait and not buy your house now. If it is marginal, then you can go out, renegotiate the price to get a fair market price. This is the whole idea behind not dealing in riba.